Expected that we would be here in 2025 from one soldier to another. I also promise, confronted hardship and refused to be defined by their injuries. Invictus is about...
The American man here was incredibly fast.
Oh, really? Please.
Boom.
The man who walked away from a throne just got kicked out of his own kingdom. Prince Harry thought the Invictus Games would always be his untouchable sanctuary. He was wrong. This week, when Harry made one demand too many, the response was so brutal it's trending worldwide. What happened next didn't just embarrass him. It revealed how far he's truly fallen. Behind closed doors at his Montecito mansion, Harry was crafting what he believed would be a simple request for the 2027 Invictus Games.
Prince Harry is currently on a working visit to the United Kingdom, and today we ask ourselves the question, is there really a family?
But the leaked details show this wasn't about veteran safety or smooth operations. Harry wanted the full royal treatment. Snipers positioned on rooftops across Birmingham, restricted zones cordoning off entire city blocks, taxpayer-funded police escorts weaving through traffic, and VIP security bubbles that would make the president's detail look modest. We're talking about the same level of protection reserved for heads of state visiting war zones.
It's hard because kids, they'll always ask the right questions. There's no filter. So...
Not a charity event in Harry's own homeland. Sources inside the Invictus organization couldn't believe what they were reading. The security proposal ran to dozens of pages, detailing everything from aerial surveillance to underground parking protocols. Harry wasn't just asking for bodyguards, he was demanding a military operation. The same protection he voluntarily gave up when he chose Netflix millions over royal duties, now demanded for what should have been a homecoming celebration.
Do you think about how transformational this experience has been for these athletes? What a difference you've made?
First, what a difference.
The request wasn't just tone deaf, it was a calculated insult to every serviceman and woman who understands that courage means facing your fears, not hiding behind walls of taxpayer-funded security. Here was a man who once wore the uniform, who trained alongside soldiers, who supposedly understood military values, now cowering at the thought of facing British crowds without an army of protection. Veterans missing limbs were flying in from active war zones, ready to compete with dignity and grace. While their supposed champion was terrified of protesters holding cardboard signs. But the document revealed something even more disturbing about Harry's mindset. This wasn't really about security threats, it was about image management. The protection wasn't designed to keep Harry safe from physical harm, but to shield him from the humiliation of empty seats, turned backs, and the cold reality that Britain had moved on without him. But that wasn't the whole story. When Invictus CEO Dominic Reed opened Harry's security demands on what should have been a routine Tuesday morning,
It's been very, very special because it's been our first opportunity to have some friends, some family, and
his reaction was immediate and visceral. Reed, a man who'd spent decades working with veterans who'd lost everything serving their country, saw through Harry's request instantly. This wasn't about protecting anyone. This was about ego, entitlement, and a desperate attempt to reclaim relevance through taxpayer-funded theatrics. Reed's response came back within hours, and when it leaked, it became the most savage royal takedown in modern history. The message was brief, professional, and absolutely devastating.
Prince Harry here at St Paul's Cathedral in central London, very much among friends for a service of Thanksgiving marking 10.
This is a homecoming, not a battlefield. Do you still need security in your own home? Those 23 words didn't just deny Harry's request. They obliterated his entire self-image in the most public way possible. The phrase, "Do you still need security in your own home?" instantly went viral, trending across every platform as social media users recognized the brutal precision of the comeback. Reid had essentially asked Harry the one question he couldn't answer.
About how to heal the rift. Charlotte joins us now. What is going on?
Well, AIDS for Prince Harry, two of them, one of them married.
If Britain is supposedly your home, if these are supposedly your people, if this is supposedly your legacy, why are you so terrified of them that you need an army to protect you? The response exposed Harry's fundamental contradiction. He'd spent years claiming he left the royal family to live authentically, to connect with real people, to escape the bubble of palace life. Yet here he was, demanding a bigger bubble than he'd ever had as a working royal. The man who preached about mental health and authentic living was so paralyzed by anxiety about public opinion.
I will be giving some lovely commentary on this trailer of Prince Harry's Invictus Games on Netflix.
That he couldn't face his own countrymen without a military escort. And what happened next would shock everyone. The response from military communities was swift, organized, and merciless. What started as private grumbling in veteran forums exploded into public outrage as serving and former military personnel realized what Harry's demands really meant. These were men and women who'd served in challenging conditions, who'd lost friends to combat, who'd carried wounded comrades through dangerous territory.
Me that soldiers were starting to feel more and more upset with Harry and Meghan as distractions and Invictus Games. But now we have
And they were being told their event needed to accommodate a prince too scared to face his own people. Former military personnel began speaking out in ways they'd never done before. Social media became a battlefield as veterans shared their own stories of facing real danger without demanding protection. Images of amputee, athletes, training for competition were juxtaposed with headlines about Harry's security fears. The contrast was devastating and deliberate. These athletes...
There is a community within Birmingham who is readying to welcome the world to its doorstep. There are venues.
Missing arms and legs were preparing to compete in front of thousands without asking for anything more than the chance to represent their countries with dignity. The military community's rejection wasn't just about the security demands. It was about what those demands represented. Harry had built his post-royal identity on his military service, trading on his veteran status to maintain relevance and respect. But his paranoid requirements revealed that he fundamentally misunderstood
Whoever's idea it was to
what military service actually meant. Soldiers don't get to choose their battles based on comfort levels. They don't get to demand security briefings before facing difficult situations. But the humiliation was just beginning. Harry's security demands weren't just insulting to veterans. They were insulting to every British taxpayer who would foot the bill. The leaked cost estimates were staggering. Over £6 million for a 3-day event with funds diverted from essential public services to protect a man who'd chosen...
Hello, Canada, and bienvenue.
...to abandon his public service obligations. The breakdown read like a parody of royal excess. Helicopter surveillance, armed response teams, traffic diversions affecting thousands of commuters, and specialized protection details. British families already struggling with the highest cost of living crisis in decades were being asked to fund protection for a prince who lived in a £12 million California mansion. Energy bills were crushing household budgets. NHS waiting lists were reaching record lengths.
Today and for the next week, warriors unite.
And local councils were cutting essential services. But somehow there was money to ensure Harry felt safe at his own charity event. Social media exploded with comparisons that highlighted the absurdity. The hashtag number #PayYourOwnSecurity trended for days as users shared stories of public service cuts while demanding accountability for royal protection spending. The financial controversy exposed deeper questions about Harry's relationship with Britain. If he truly believed he was no longer safe in his homeland.
After years of strained relations, Prince Harry is extending a new olive branch, and this time it might actually work.
Why was he insisting on returning? Polls conducted during the height of the controversy showed devastating results for Harry's reputation. Over 78% of respondents believed he should pay for his own security, with even higher numbers among working-class voters who would bear the tax burden. More damaging still, 65% said they'd lost respect for the Invictus Games themselves because of Harry's involvement. The damage was spreading faster than anyone expected. This Invictus controversy wasn't happening in isolation.
No wonder Prince Harry wants King Charles to attend the 2027 Invictus Games with him. No one has noticed that King Charles...
It was the latest catastrophic failure in Harry's systematic destruction of his own brand. Every venture he'd touched since leaving the royal family had either collapsed spectacularly or limped along as a public embarrassment. And now even his signature achievement was rejecting him. The Netflix partnership that was supposed to establish Harry and Meghan as content creators had become a source of industry disappointment. Their projects generated more criticism than acclaim.
And to now know today, based on this judgment, that there was no legal framework that...
And their production company seemed to exist mainly to employ associates in roles with impressive titles. Industry insiders suggested that executives regretted the deal, trapped in a contract that brought more drama than successful content. The Spotify podcast situation was even more telling. After signing a deal worth millions, the content produced was so limited that even patient executives couldn't justify continuing. The cancellation came with unusually harsh public criticism from company representatives.
So this might be Prince Harry's Invictus Games. It's his creation, it's his baby, but this is really a real...
Each failure followed the same pattern. Initial fanfare, massive financial investment, promises of authenticity and social impact, then gradual recognition that the couple brought more complications than solutions to every partnership. Their involvement guaranteed media attention, but it was increasingly negative attention that damaged brands rather than enhanced them. What happened next exposed the ultimate irony. The 2027 Invictus Games are scheduled to coincide with Queen Camilla's 80th birthday.
Guys, so we have some breaking news. So in 2027, the Invictus Games will come back to the UK for the first time in 10 years.
A timing that couldn't be more awkward for Harry's relationship with the royal family. The palace has remained strategically silent about the coincidence. But royal commentators suggest Prince William is actively considering avoiding the event entirely, unwilling to support what he increasingly sees as Harry's publicity campaign. Meanwhile, the Invictus Committee has been quietly making plans that don't require Harry's presence. Multiple sources within the organization describe a growing consensus.
It's Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, offering an olive branch to his estranged father, King Charles, and of course, brother, the Prince of Wales, Prince William?
That the games would actually run more smoothly without the drama and security complications Harry brings to every event. Committee members speak privately about their relief at finally being able to focus on veterans rather than managing Harry's needs. Harry's attempts at damage control have been characteristically ineffective. His decision to send personal invitations to King Charles and Prince William for the 2027 Games was seen by royal insiders as desperation rather than reconciliation.
You won't believe what King Charles just said after Prince Harry asked him to reunite. He's as mad as Meghan. Just days ago, Prince Harry...
The invitations themselves were reportedly formal to the point of coldness, lacking any genuine acknowledgement or desire for family healing. More tellingly, Harry's former military connections are systematically distancing themselves from both him and his projects. Senior officers who once spoke proudly of Harry's service now declined to comment on his civilian activities. Military charities that once competed for his patronage are quietly removing his name from their promotional materials.
Key event, Prince Harry and King Charles could reunite as Duke determined to heal rift.
The final revelation changes everything. The most devastating truth about this entire saga is that Invictus will not only survive without Harry, it will thrive in ways it never could while associated with his increasingly controversial brand. The games were built on principles of courage, resilience, and selfless service that Harry has systematically compromised through his post-royal behavior. CEO Dominic Reed's response to Harry's security demands wasn't just a denial, it was a declaration of independence.
Harry's trying to make peace with Charles and William by inviting them to the 2027 Invictus Games, but insiders say it's way too late.
The organization that Harry created as his personal legacy project has evolved beyond his control into something genuinely meaningful for wounded veterans worldwide. The games don't need Harry's celebrity status or royal connections anymore. They have their own identity and integrity. The veterans who compete in Invictus embody the values Harry only talks about. They face dangerous situations without demanding security details. They've overcome injuries that would destroy lesser people without complaining about social media criticism.
Breaking news that's absolutely mind-blowing. Harry has officially emailed King Charles and Prince William, inviting them to the 2027 Birmingham.
They've rebuilt their lives after losing everything without expecting the world to accommodate their difficulties. The contrast between their quiet dignity and Harry's loud desperation couldn't be more obvious. The Invictus Games will march on, standing for courage and recovery, representing the best of human resilience in the face of unimaginable challenges. They'll do this without needing to accommodate a prince who abandoned duty, but still craves privilege, who demands respect while earning criticism.
Message? Oh, from Michelle. How very amazing.
The founder has become the problem his own creation needs to solve. Without his titles meaning anything, with his VIP demands rejected by his own people, with entertainment connections gone silent, and even his military legacy questioned, Harry faces a truth he can no longer deny. He abandoned his duties when his country needed him to serve, walked away from his family when they supported him. Now, the very veterans he once championed are pushing back with the same courage they showed in service.
The first day of putting on the uniform, the men and women who represent our service community were prepared,
saying what everyone has been thinking, this isn't about you anymore. When people who faced real danger tell you your demands are unreasonable, that's not just criticism. That's the final verdict on a man who traded his honor for fame and found out too late that neither Britain nor Hollywood was interested in what he was really selling. The Invictus Games will survive and thrive because they represent something real, the triumph of the human spirit over impossible odds. Harry will fade into irrelevance because he represents something false, the triumph of entitlement over service, celebrity over substance. In the end, the veterans he thought he was championing have become the judges of his character, and their verdict is clear. Harry is no longer worthy of the cause he claims to champion.